Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, I'm Laura. This is the Last Minute Laura channel. When you come here, you can usually find me making something. Today, I am going to be showing you how I made this vest. So this is a sweater vest for the Finish It February series. It's got a really cool checkered pattern on the front and a really cute weird striped pattern on the back. So I'm going to be getting this finished. We're calling it Finish the Vest because I really do need to get this finished. I've had it for who knows how long now. So for this project, I used Briggs & Little wool, which is a 2-ply, probably like a number 4 weight. And I used about, I'm gonna say about 1,000 yards, maybe under 1,000 yards. So whatever that means for the yarn that you're gonna use, I hope that helps. I used a 5mm crochet hook as well, and not too many stitches. I used the single crochet a lot. I also used back loops only single crochet. I did some slip stitches, and I used the blanket stitch, a sewing stitch, to put it together. So I will link all of the tutorials for all of the stitches I used in the description below. And I hope you'll take a second to subscribe, like the video, all the things. Thank you for being here today, and I hope you enjoy the video. Let's get started. So, to begin on the hemband, I am going to be using this gold. I'm gonna begin with a slip knot, and with my 5mm hook, I am going to chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 10, 11. And then I'm going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook, 1 and 2, complete a single crochet, and then I'm going to single crochet all the way back to the beginning of the chain. At the end of the row, chain 1 and turn. Also, if you don't know how to do a single crochet or any of the stitches that I end up using in this pattern, don't worry about it. I have crochet tutorials for every stitch that I use in all of my patterns. I'll link the ones that I use for this project down below and in the top corner in the iCard. So check that out if you're brand new, and then you can come back here once you've mastered those stitches. And here I am at the end of the row. I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Now, for the first stitch of the row, I'm going to do a regular single crochet. Then, all the way to the end, I'm going to do a single crochet, but back loops only single crochet. Except for in the last stitch. I'm going to do a regular single crochet through both loops for the last stitch of this row. But for all of the other stitches, keep it in the back loops only. This is going to create a little ribbed sort of pattern, but since we're doing regular single crochets at the front and at the back of each of the rows, you're going to have really nice straight edges that aren't ripply, because the ribbed stitch would make it kind of a zigzag ripple. By keeping the stitches regular single crochet at either of the ends, it just keeps it nice and flat and straight. So here I am at the end of the next row. I'm going to do a chain 1 and turn, and then in the first stitch again, I'm going to do a regular single crochet, and then for each stitch across, except for the last one, I'm going to single crochet back loops only. You're going to end up with 10 stitches in each row. The 11th chain that we had at the beginning, that counts as one of your single crochets in the end. So we've got 10 to a row, and we're doing single crochet back loops only all the way across. First and last stitch of each row, get a regular single crochet. So this is the entire repeat. It's just a 1-row repeat for the hemband. You're gonna repeat this back and forth, front, back loops only, for as long as it takes. So I'm going to go for about 21 inches. The fun thing about this pattern, it doesn't really matter how many you start with, I don't think. So I think you can start with as many as you want, and I'm going to show you how to build up the vest from there. So I'm going to go for 20 inches. If you want yours to be just like mine, go for 20 inches, but you definitely don't have to. That 20 inches is half of the measurement of the entire vest, because there's going to be 20 inches for the front piece and 20 inches for the back piece. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to just repeat this as long as it takes for me to get that 20 inches of hemband finished, and I will meet you back here once I get to that point, and then we will start building up the vest. And hey, if you haven't yet, don't forget to click the like button. It really helps the channel, and I do really appreciate it, each and every one of you who hit that like button. It lets me know that you like this kind of content and to keep doing this sort of thing. If you don't like it, let me know what you're looking for. Be nice, but let me know in the comments what you're looking for. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I have new content coming out Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays of every week in February. I'm coming out with 5 sweater large garment crochet tutorials and 2 live streams each week on Mondays and Saturdays. I live stream from 1 p.m. until 6 p.m. So I hope to see you tomorrow, because my tutorial videos come out on Friday, so I'm assuming it's Friday. So I hope I'll see you tomorrow at the live stream. All right, so I'm just finishing my last stitch of the waistband, and I actually won at Yarn Chicken. That's the end of my piece of yarn. And now I've got my 20-inch band. So now it's time for us to get into the actual body portion. For this, I'm going to be switching every 2 rows. I'm going to be switching my color every 2 rows. I think I'm going to begin with this cute green because I think it looks nice against the orange, or against the yellow gold, I suppose. So I'm going to begin here by pulling up a loop at that first chain stitch. I'm going to pull up a loop with my hook, and then I'm going to chain 1. And now I'm going to single crochet all the way across. Each row will receive 1 single crochet because each row is a single crochet row. So we're gonna do 1 single crochet in each row all the way across. Just put your hook in wherever you can fit it. It'll be pretty clear once you get started moving across where to put your hook. But I'm gonna single crochet all the way across. When I get to the end of this row, I'm gonna chain 1 and turn, and I'll show you what we're gonna do next right after that. All right, I'm just coming up to the end of that row. Like I said, when you get to the end of the first row, chain 1 and turn. And then for the second row, we're going to do 2 single crochets in the first stitch, and we're going to do 2 single crochets in the last stitch. Other than that, it's just regular single crochet across. That's gonna be for row number 2. For row number 3, we're going to do a regular single crochet across row. Then for rows number 4 through 10, we're going to repeat that. So we'll do a row with increases at the ends and a row that's just regular single crochet across. A row with increases, a row that's single crochet across. And we're gonna repeat that all the way up till row number 10. For row number 2, we're doing 2 single crochets in the first stitch and 2 single crochets in the last stitch, otherwise single crochet across. For row number 3, regular single crochet across. For row number 4, 2 single crochets in the first stitch and 2 single crochets in the last stitch, otherwise single crochet across. Row number 5, single crochet across, and so on all the way up to number 10. I am going to switch colors every 2 rows just to make it a fun stripy design, but you can just keep going all the way up to row number 10. So I will see you once I finish those rows. This is gonna be a weird looking sweater. Thank you, live studio, thank you. The live studio audience. You guys are the live studio audience. I should turn the camera so you can see what I'm actually doing. Since everything's vacuumed now, I'm not shy to have you see the rest of the room. I'm gonna take a bite of my other donut. I have 2 donuts today. Because I'm sad, so I'm allowed to eat whatever I want. A really cool Dawn, if we could do a CJ themed pullover, like all CJ's colors. I feel like even if you're not a yarn person, opening a box with yarn in it is one of the best things ever. Like if Alex opened a box of yarn, would it make him happy? I don't know, it would make me happy. All right, so I'm just at the end of my 10th row, and now I'm going to switch colors again, like I'm doing every 2 rows, I'm switching colors. But now from row 11 all the way up to row number 54, it's just gonna be single crochet across. So no more increases, we just had those 10 rows of increase, and now it's just going to be single crochet across from rows number 11 all the way up to 54. So I will see you once we get there. Okay, so I just finished row number 54. What do you think? I did it in stripes of 2 colors, or 2 stripes of 2 rows, I should say, and then I changed colors every 2 rows. I kind of love it. Now that we've got to the end of 54, we're going to get started on the arm shaping. So this is going to be not a garment with sleeves, it's a vest. So we need to do a little bit different arm shaping for this one. So I'm going to attach in the green for row number 55. And for row number 55, we're not going to chain up 1 when we turn around from row 54. So I'm going to just yarn over with both yarn, pull it through, and then instead of chaining 1, we're gonna just skip the chain 1 and turn the work. Now, we're going to skip the first stitch. We're not going to single crochet there. We're gonna single crochet into the second stitch and then single crochet across, but leave the last stitch unworked. So don't put a single crochet in the last stitch of the row, just leave it unworked. Before you turn around for row 56, do not chain 1. At the end of this row 55, don't chain 1, just turn around. All right, so there I am at the end. I'm gonna skip that last stitch. I'm not gonna work into it. Then I'm not gonna chain 1. I'm just turning it around. And now I'm going to single crochet across. This time I am going to go into the first stitch. From here on out, it's going to be the same instruction all the way up to row number 74. So for row number 56 until row 74, it's going to be single crochet across, leaving the last stitch unworked. Do not chain 1, just turn. Single crochet across, leave the last stitch unworked, do not chain 1, just turn. That's the instruction all the way up till row 74. So I am going to keep going through my stripes with these reductions that are going to shape the armholes. Okay, so I just finished row number 74, and that is where we are finishing with our decreases. At the end of row 74, I'm gonna chain up 1, and now for row number 75 all the way up to row 110, I'm just gonna single crochet across. I'm still gonna change colors as often as I can, hopefully every 2 rows, but if I run out of yarn colors, I might have to have a solid color for the back portion up towards the shoulders, but that's neither here nor there. From row 75 until row 110, you're gonna single crochet back and forth, chain 1 at the end of each row, and we're putting a single crochet into each stitch all the way across. No more decreases. Okay, so I've just finished up to row 110. I did end up running out of colors, unfortunately, so the top portion of the vest in the back is going to be this creamy white color, and that's just how it's happening this time. So now it's time to do the arm shaping for the back piece of the vest. So there's 4 more rows here that we've got left to do, and the first row we're going to start by chaining up 1, and this will be row 111. And then turn. And then for row 111, we're going to single crochet into the first 15 stitches. So just the first 15 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 14, 15. And now we've gotten to the 15, we're gonna not chain 1, we're just gonna turn. And then we're gonna skip the first stitch, and we're gonna single crochet into the second stitch, and then single crochet all the way to the end. At the end of this short row, chain 1 and turn. All right, and that was row 112. Now for row 113, we're going to, like I said, chain 1 and turn, and then we're gonna single crochet into the first 13 stitches. So 1, 2, 12, 13. And that 13th stitch is going to be a little tight to get in, so just if yours is, don't worry. And then we're gonna chain 1 and turn, and then we're just gonna single crochet back to the beginning, and that is where we're done the shoulder shaping. So this one, you're not skipping the first stitch, you're single crocheting into that first stitch, and then single crocheting across. At the end of this row, you can tie off but what I'm gonna recommend is leave a really long tail, and then you can use this portion to actually sew together the shoulder. Then what you're gonna do after this is repeat the exact same thing, but on the other side. So you're gonna need to reattach your yarn at the other side and then follow the same instructions. So single crochet into the first 15 stitches, do not chain one, just turn, then skip the first stitch, single crochet back to the beginning, chain one and turn, and then you're going to single crochet into the first 13 stitches, chain one and turn, and then single crochet back to the beginning. And that is going to be your shoulder shaping. And then both sides are gonna look a little bit like this. So let me just finish that, and then I will come back, and it's going to be time to, I'm trying to decide. Should I explain? I should explain the front. So after this, I'll explain how I did the front V. All right, so there I am finishing up the last row of the other shoulder. I'm gonna leave a long tail so that I can put the sweater together with that tail. Trim my tail there, and there we go. So now there's the back of the vest. And these pieces are gonna attach to the front pieces of the V part. So let me show you that. All right, so for the front piece, you're gonna complete the exact same instructions up to row 74. So the back piece, do everything the same up to row 74. And then for row 75, mark the center, put a stitch marker, tie a piece of yarn, mark the center. And then what you're gonna do is on row 75, you'll crochet to that center stitch, and then don't chain one, just turn it around, skip the first stitch, and then single crochet across. Then you chain one and turn, and then you'll single crochet all the way down. At the end of the row, do not chain one, just turn, skip that first stitch, and then single crochet across. And that's gonna create this decrease, and you're gonna keep that decrease going all the way up until row 101. Then from row 101 to 112, you're just gonna single crochet across. There should be 13 stitches left at that point. If yours is differently sized than mine and yours is not quite at 13 stitches yet, you need to decrease until there are 13 stitches left. Alternatively, for the back piece, don't make 13 stitches the number of stitches you need. If your decrease only makes it up to 15 stitches, then your back piece should have, that last row should only be 15 stitches. So that is how you're going to do that, and then you're going to reattach your yarn on the other side at row 75, and then just repeat the exact same thing. So decrease only on one end, on the other end you're working up straight. If you're wondering how I did this gingham sort of check pattern, I'm going to do a separate tutorial on that because it's kind of a lot of words. So for this one, I'm just telling you about how to make the decrease for that V-neck. This piece was already done, which is why I'm not making it on camera. But anyway, that's how you do that. Now I'm going to block these tonight, and then tomorrow morning we're gonna put them together. All right, so it's the next day now. These have been blocked. I've got both pieces finished. Is that not so cool? I'm pretty excited to see what happens. Yesterday during the live stream, we had a really good suggestion come in from Kathy to make a pocket to match the back to the front. That way from the front, it won't make complete nonsense having the back be totally rainbow. So I copied the style with the cream top and made a little square so we can stick that pocket around there, and it'll kind of make the whole project sort of go together a little bit better. But now that everything is blocked and crocheted, ready to go, it's time to put it together. This is the most exciting part. And this part is actually going to be really quick for this project because there's no sleeves. So there's a lot less to put together. I'm going to be putting the shoulders together. I think I'll do that with single crochets, and then I'll be crocheting these side seams together. I think I'll do single crochets again. And I think what I'll do is I'll start from bottom and go all the way up to the top. That way I can go around the sleeve a couple of times, or around the armhole a couple of times, just to make it a little bit more finished. I'll do the same thing for the neckline. I'll end up doing a little bit of crochet around the neckline. I'll do the exact same thing to the other side. So let's do that now. I missed a step. Before we can put the actual garment together, we have to get this pocket on. So I'm gonna just get my yarn needle, and I have this much left of the purple, very little left, but I think there's more than enough for us to stitch this pocket down. What I was thinking we would do is put it right in the middle of this 4 checkered boxes. It might be a little awkward of a location, but I feel like it looks centered nicely. I'm gonna do a blanket stitch to attach this pocket. You could do a whip stitch, you could do, I don't think you could crochet it in, but you could do whatever you want in terms of sewing. I'm gonna show you how I plan on doing it. And if you wanna do it the same way, then be my guest. Also, you definitely don't have to make a pocket. What I did for this was 20 stitches, a chain of 20. And from there, I just single crocheted back and forth. I changed colors every 2 rows, just like on the back of the vest, to try and get some continuity in this garment. What I'm gonna do to start, I'm gonna start on the same side that this tail is on, that way I can tuck it in as I go. And I'm gonna come up through the back of the garment to begin with. You know what I might do also is just stitch mark all of them to the actual sweater so that I can not have to worry about my stitches being a little bit off. Then I'm gonna blanket stitch around. I'm not gonna focus on this too much because I have a tutorial for how to blanket stitch. I also have how to blanket stitch in crochet in most of my sweater tutorials, and since this is just kind of an afterthought pocket, I'm just gonna zoom through, but it's the same blanket stitch that I use for all of my other crocheted projects. So if you wanna know how to put a pocket on, how to sew 2 things together with a blanket stitch, I will include that link in the description. Okay, so I'm gonna come in through the back of the vest like that. That's gonna hide the tail for me. And then I'm gonna go right back down just for my first stitch. I'm gonna do it that way. The rest of them are going to be just through part of the actual vest. So I'm just gonna zoom through this part, blanket stitching the pocket to the actual vest. Well, I just had a talk with Alex, and I think that I came up with a different solution for this pocket, and I think it's a better idea. And even though I hate undoing work that I've already done, I'm going to undo it because I think this pocket will look better. You know, in a vest, there's like a pocket for a pocket watch. I feel like they're down lower. Please enjoy the irritated montage of me taking out my own stitches. Also, I can't cut the yarn because I only have this much purple yarn left, so I actually have to pick out the stitches. I can't just... While you watch this sped through version of me detaching and reattaching a pocket, I would like to invite you to join the Patreon. For $2 a month, you can have access to the group Discord for the Last Minute Laura Gang, which is like a chat room where we talk about all kinds of stuff. You can upload photos of your pets or, I don't know, your projects. You can ask questions, and there's a nice live group of people who will be happy to help you out. You also get all of my bullet journal patterns. So I draw my bullet journal patterns for all of my projects. I draw out a spread, I draw the actual garment, and then I write the instructions that I followed in order to make that project. I upload those for patrons every Monday. Every Monday that I have a new project, I should say. Some Mondays I don't have a project, but every Monday I have a new project, it gets uploaded for my patrons. So, if that sounds like something you're into, check the links in the description. And if that's not something you're into, that's totally okay, but I would love to also invite you to take a second to like the video. It really does help the channel grow, so if you would like to support the channel but you don't want to do it in a financial way, then like the video, subscribe, share the video, leave a comment, that sort of stuff. Anyway, I'm about done with this pocket now, so let's get back into the vest. Alright, so now that the pocket is on, we can actually get to the fun part of putting this thing together. So I have to pick my right side and my wrong side. I think this will be my wrong side because there's visible weaving. So that'll be the inside of the garment. So that means this will be the outside. And this is the outside. We want the right sides together. And we're going to start with the shoulders. So I left that really long tail on when we finished the back piece. I'm just going to stick my hook into the first stitch through both pieces of fabric. And then the piece, the tail I should say, that we had, I'm going to yarn over and pull it through both pieces. And then I'm just going to chain one and I'm going to pull that chain tight. And now I'm going to single crochet across. You could slip stitch if you want. I just want to single crochet. I like how it looks. I like the finish it gives to the seams. But you could definitely do a slip stitch. You could also do a blanket stitch with sewing. But I think single crocheting the shoulders together has worked for me pretty much in all of my projects. Finish my single crochet and then I'll just chain one and pull that end through. And there we go. Nice seam. You can see from the outside of the garment, it's going to be a really pretty seam. And from the inside, it's a nice finished seam. So that's what I like to do. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. And there we go. So now the shoulders are put together. It's time to do the side seam. I'm going to use the white again. I will be doing a line around the final project in the white yarn, so should be okay. And I'm going to start at the bottom of the hemband, and I'm just going to put my hook through the first stitch on both pieces, and then I'm going to pull a loop up in the white yarn, and then I'll do a chain one, and now I'm going to single crochet until I am all the way around. Just going to single crochet, oh, not all the way around, excuse me, I'm going to single crochet up to the armpit, not all the way around, up to the armpit. All right, and I'm just up to the armpit now with single crochets. It was a little tighter than I thought, so it took me a little bit longer because I have to get into these stitches, but I'm just going to do this last stitch here. There we go. And now you can see we've got a nice finished seam on both sides. Now what I'm going to do is pull the two pieces apart, and I'm only going to be crocheting into one side of the vest now. I'm not going to be putting them together because this is the armpit, or this is the armhole. So I'm going to just single crochet around. I'm going to do nice little neat single crochets all the way around that open armhole. So I ended up going around 2 times, and even looking at it now, I think I'm going to go around 2 more times. I think I want to bring it out just a little bit more, and I'm going to do really tight stitches for these last 2 rows. The third row I should say, because I've already done 2. The third row I'm going to do really tight single crochets, and then I think for the 4th row I'm going to do slip stitches, just to make it look really finished, like it has a finished edge on it. I want it to be a little bit thick at the end. So I'm going to do really tight single crochets for the 3rd time around, and then slip stitches for the 4th time around. So I'm just going to do that now. I'm also going to just zoom through the other side, doing the exact same thing. So I'm going to do 3 rounds of single crochet, 1 round of slip stitches around the other armhole after I do the other side seam. Alright, so I just finished both armholes. I'm going to weave my ends in now, and then it's going to be time to put the vest inside out, or right side in I suppose, and get the neckline and the bottom hemline finished. Okay, so now that the armholes are both done, I've got the 3 rows of single crochet and 1 row of slip stitches, which I think made for a nice end on both sides. Now we've got to do the neckline. So for the neckline, I'm going to start at the shoulder, right behind the seam. So it's going to be hidden. So for this part, I'm going to do just slip stitches for the back neckline because that's perfect. And once we get back to where the purple starts, I'm going to do single crochets for the front section. So I'm going to do slip stitches for every stitch that's part of the back piece, but once we get to the front piece, I'm going to switch over to single crochet so we can bring that neckline in just a little bit. Alright, so I'm at the purple part now. I'm at the front piece. So I'm just going to switch now from slip stitches into single crochet. My plan for when I get to the V-neck, the bottom of the V-neck, my plan for that is to do single crochet 2 together because there's 2 stitches that make up like the middle part of the V. So I'm just going to single crochet 2 together at that middle stitch to keep the V so that there's not like a weird sticking out collar sort of thing happening. Okay, so I'm at the bottom now, the corner part, the lowest part of the V. And like I said, I'm going to single crochet these 2 stitches that make up the center. I'm going to single crochet them together. And that will keep the V nice and tight. And it won't turn into like a U neck. We're trying to keep it a nice sharp V. All right, I made it all the way around, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go around one more time. I'm going to do this next round though, exclusively in slip stitches. So I'm going over the first stitches I did around the back neckline with slip stitches, and that kind of is thickening up that back neckband. I think you can see that textural change there. And when we get to the front piece, the purple side, I am going to do slip stitches just to finish off that edge from the single crochets in the previous row. So I'm just gonna zip around, doing my slip stitches all the way around, and when I get back to the beginning, I'll show you what it's looking like and what we're gonna do next, the final step. And I'm just finishing my last stitch there for the neckline. Pull one more loop through, trim the yarn. Then I'll have to weave that in. Our neckline is done, our sleeve holes, armholes are done. Last step before the actual garment is really complete is just doing a seam around the bottom, a bottom hem with that white yarn, just to tie it all together. So I'm gonna just start just behind where the join is, and I'm gonna do a round of single crochet followed by a round of slip stitch. Actually, no, I'm just gonna do a single crochet round because the slip stitches would make it tighter, and I don't want to make the bottom tighter. I like it nice and with a lot of give. I want it to have that elastic property. But I am gonna single crochet all the way around, so I'm gonna do that now, and that is gonna be where it's done. So let me zoom through it, and then, are you ready? Drum roll, please. Da 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 da. It's finished! What do you think? I'm kind of obsessed with the fact that it's mismatched and that the front is like such a neat checker pattern and then the back is like this wild mess of scraps. I love it. But what do you think? Let me know what you think of it. How does Alex look in his new vest? I think he looks so cute. And I think it's probably going to get a lot of wear once it sort of breaks in. Right now it kind of feels like a stiff garment, but once he wears it a few times, I'm sure it'll sort of become more of like a cozy sweater vest. But I really like it. I like the pocket. I think that was a great addition. It ties the whole thing together, makes it have more of a designer feel as opposed to being completely random. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if you're thinking you want to make a sweater vest, because they're kind of fun and they don't take that much time, which is such a great thing. Anyways, friends, that is all I've got for you today. I really do hope that you'll take a second and click the like button if you liked the video. And thank you for watching all the way to the end. Thank you so much to my patrons. You guys mean the world. Thank you for supporting me via Patreon. Click the link if you'd like to join. So I think that's it for today. I'll see you tomorrow in the live stream from 1 p.m. until 6 p.m. I'll be live streaming tomorrow on this same channel. You can come here 1 p.m. Eastern and you'll find me. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!